Hello everybody, my name's Ollie, my wife is called Faye, and we are both experienced caterers, cooks, with expertise in smoking meat Texas style, British Indian restaurant curries, British food, baking, and all the above. Today we're going to be doing a Chicken Tikka Masala. This is the staple British Indian restaurant curry, and if you follow the recipe, it will turn out just like the restaurants, if not better. You will need to do two things before you start this recipe, and that is the base gravy and the mix powder. The base gravy, you can do that in the Thermomix. The mix powder, you don't need the Thermomix. You can use it if you want. I recommend doing both in batches, but you will need to do both of these before you start this curry today. They're very straightforward, and both of the recipes are in the description. But without further ado, please enjoy the video, and I'll be making many more in the future. Happy cooking. Okay, so doing this on the Thermomix. What a device. Revolutionised the way I cook. Typically we do this on the using a pan, but I've actually adapted this now for the Thermomix, and I tell you what, you're getting pretty much the same results. So I go a little bit garlicky with mine. I really like garlic in my chicken tikka masalas, but you can follow the recipe. Is 1 teaspoon of garlic and 1 teaspoon of ginger paste. What you'll do is you'll blend these up at the start of the cook. So this is what we're doing right now. We're just setting up the ginger and garlic paste. Okay, we're just going to put the lid on, and we're just going to blend that up as per the recipe for about 5 seconds. Okay, so once that's blended up, we're just going to scrape down the sides and get all that garlic and ginger back into the bottom. We've scraped down our Thermomix. Now what we need to do is we need to cook off the ginger and the garlic. So we're going to add our oil as per the recipe in front of us. We're using groundnut oil. This is a really good oil for curries. It's a great substitute instead of ghee. Ghee is a typical oil that the Indians use for their curries, but groundnut oil is a really good substitute. So you can see that there's also the measurement. 62 grams of oil is 5 tablespoons of groundnut oil. So it asks me to put the lid on. We're now going to cook this for 3 minutes, or saute it for 3 minutes on 120 degrees Celsius. So quick sip of red wine. Gotta have a bit of red wine when making a curry. Okay, now it's asking us to add the key herbs and spices. So we're going to go through these one by one. It doesn't really matter what the order is. I'm going to show you what it looks like there. So you can see there, started to fry off those that ginger and garlic, taking off that bitter taste. So first of all, we're going to get a piece of cassia bark or cinnamon stick. That sort of size, and he's going to plonk it straight in there. We're not going to be doing any blending or anything like that. It's all stirring at this moving forward, so that cassia bark will hold its own inside the Thermomix. Next, we're going to put in garam masala. Garam masala will overpower curry quite easily, so only putting about half a teaspoon in. Okay, and next it's asking me to put the base gravy in. Now, the base gravy, the recipe, again, it's in the description. What you do is you make your 30-minute base gravy and you add 100 millilitres of water. I actually messed this up a little bit. I put a bit too much water in, but it doesn't really matter. It still came out really nice. So the base gravy's in as per the recipe, and then we're going to add our salt. I'm just going to put a teaspoon of salt in. You can always add salt later, but I find that a teaspoon is just about right. Okay, now we're on to the mix powder. Again, the mix powder, the recipe is in the description. I recommend making batches of this and storing it in glass jars like I do. If we're doing 2.5 teaspoons of mixed powder, it's basically just a mix of cumin, coriander, turmeric, garam masala, madras curry powder, a few other bits and bobs. But this is one of the essential ingredients you need for these British Indian restaurant style curries. Next up, tandoori masala. You get these in bags from the local Indian supermarket. In the UK, these are quite readily available to us. The recipe is asking for 3 tablespoons of tandoori masala. I do recommend sticking to the amounts. If you want consistent results, use this recipe as a baseline. You can always add and take away what you do and do not like. Okay, so that's all of the key spices. We're now going to cook them off in the oil and the ginger and garlic paste. Okay, so they're nice and cooked off now. Oh, knocked over my German engineered spatula. Okay, now we're asking, the recipe's asking for tomato paste. So the way the tomato paste works in British Indian restaurant curries is for every tablespoon of tomato paste, you add 3 tablespoons of water. For this recipe, I've actually measured it a little bit more accurately. So it's 3 tablespoons of tomato paste. It's about 60 grams of tomato paste. And then I think it was 150 mils of water. 130 mils on the dot. But yeah, we're going to go forward there. We're just going to cook that off again for a further 3 minutes. There you can see my wires getting a bit low there. Might just top it up soon. Okay, right. So the tomato paste has been cooked off. All the herbs and spices are now fully soaked into that sort of tomatoey paste there that we've made. Now we're going to be adding in our coconut powder and our almond powder. Just go off the recipe. The first thing it's going to ask me to do is add in the base gravy. This stops the mix from thickening up too much because the coconut is desiccated coconut, can cause quite a lot of thickness. I'm doing this unscripted, by the way. I'm just sort of doing it with the video, so apologies if I sound like I'm going on with myself. But I'm trying to be as thorough as I can. So there we go. We've got desiccated coconut. I store this in big plastic tubs. It comes in big bags. I think the recipe asks for 5 tablespoons, 3, 4, oh, maybe not 6. And then we're going to go for the almond powder at the back here. I store this in a jar too. It comes in quite large bags. With the almond powder can be quite expensive, so I do recommend buying it in large batches. The larger the batches, the cheaper it is. And if you like your curries like I do, it all gets used up eventually. So I'm just putting 3 tablespoons of almond powder into that mix there. Okay, so it's asking me now to cook off the almond powder and the coconut. Okay, so it's now asking me to add the sugar. So I'm just using basically brown sugar. However, took the lid off. And the brown sugar, I'm just showing you the mix there. It's pretty thick. We put the sugar in now so it doesn't caramelise as much. We're wanting it more for the flavour than the caramelisation. 4 tablespoons of brown sugar. So that's, I see there's 60 grams of brown sugar. And then we're just going to add the rest of the base gravy. Now, the recipe calls here for, I think it's 150 grams, 200 grams. But you can see there, it went up to 284. That's because I didn't measure off the base gravy correctly. I do recommend sticking to the recipe. So now we're doing the tikka the tikka marinated chicken. So we're going to put this into the steaming tray. And then we're going to plop that on top of our Thermomix, and we're going to steam it for about 20 minutes. 20 minutes is a really good amount of time to allow the chicken to cook and to begin that reduction of the sauce. If you do get to the end of this process and you find that the sauce is still a bit liquidy and more liquidy than you like it, then 5 or 10 minutes on an open cook works perfect. So I'm just doing my rice. I prefer to do my rice the old-fashioned way. I know the Thermomix does a good job at rice, but my wife likes it when I cook it on the hob. You saw me put 1 cup of rice in there. I ended up putting 2 cups of rice in. So 2 cups of rice, wash off the rice, get all that starch out. Then 3 cups of water, and then I put some black pepper, some salt, and last but not least, some star anise, which you'll see me just showing the camera here now. And bring that up to the boil, 10 minutes on boil, turn the heat off, let it steam for 5 minutes, and we're done. Okay, so we're at the end of our 20 minutes steaming. Watch your hands, it can be hot. Okay, so the sauce is thickened up really nice in there. Keep in mind, I've not used red food colouring. I don't use it because I'm a bit unsure about the chemicals that go into food colouring. I know they're probably safe, but I do like to avoid those sort of fake chemicals that you can put into food. So, single cream. We're going to put 150 mils of single cream into our sauce, and then we're just going to add in some lemon juice. You can use fresh lemon if you want, or you can use the bottle stuff. I recommend fresh lemon if you have it, but just a tablespoon of lemon juice just to give it that edge. The reason we add these in the end is because we're not really looking to cook off these ingredients. And then we're going to add in our marinated chicken. The recipe does again say for the marinade to put red food colouring in. Completely up to you. People do say you eat with your eyes. If I was cooking for friends and family, I probably would add in the red food colouring, but it makes no difference to the taste. Okay, that's all of our chicken added. We're just going to do a quick clean up. Lid on, and then we're just going to do a final 2 minutes cook to finish off the curry. Okay, so we're just going to plate it up, shape the rice, and pour it on top. I'm not great for presentation. The wife's much better than me at that. But there's our sort of final result. I'll leave it to you to decide how you want to present your curry. But I promise you, this is probably one of the most tastiest, sweetest, loveliest curries you'll ever eat. And it's British Indian restaurant quality every single time. Thank you very much for watching, and happy cooking with your TM7s, and I'll see you all on the next one.